Greetings, everyone. Nickie Brown here. Today on Lessons with Nickie Brown, I am going to talk about the power of positive thinking. When we think positive, good things happen in our life. We attract good people, we attract good things, and we go to good places. It's all up to us. It's all up to you. If we focus on the things that are not so good in our lives, more not so good things are going to come to us. If we focus on the good things in our lives and we're thankful and grateful for those things, we will get more of those things in our lives. And that's just the law of attraction. That's the law of the universe. And that's how it works. A lot of times we don't realize that our own thinking can put us on a path that we don't necessarily want to be on. And this is not about fault or blame, because a lot of times it's the way we're raised. It's the society we're raised in. It's our environment. It's our learned behavior. All of those things play a factor as well, in addition to the innate personality traits that are associated with your zodiac sign. And I understand that some people don't believe in astrology. However, if you are a Christian, astrology is in the Bible. That is what the 3 wise men used to navigate to different locations. And so the ancestors did rely heavily on the stars in the universe as a guide in their navigation system. And so they also used it to help learn different personality types. And this is not to say, because a lot of times we just focus on a person's sun sign. However, there's an entire birth chart, and I can help you to read and understand your birth chart if you would like to. But most of us have all 4 elements in our birth chart. What does that mean? Most of us have air, fire, water, and earth in our chart. Most people do. You do have some people who are very unique, where they all have more air signs and maybe fire, but maybe they don't have the other 2. But what happens in those situations is we tend to meet people who can balance us out. So I'll use myself as an example. I have mainly fire signs in my chart, so I could be a little fiery. But then second place is air, but my sun sign is an air sign. Then you have I think 1 water sign. And so, no, I have more than 1 now that I'm thinking about my birth chart, because I don't have it memorized. But anyway, because I have a little bit of water in my birth chart, I mainly attract water signs. And for example, cancers, they're supposed to help me to let my guard down. But a lot of times, well, from my experience, they've been so hurtful towards me that I just want to distance myself from them, which may not be a good thing, because again, I'm not learning the lessons that I need to learn. And when we don't learn the lessons that we need to learn, they repeat themselves in the form of another person. So we never really get away from it. If you're meant to learn a lesson, you have to learn that lesson, no matter how long it takes for you to learn that lesson. And we could be stubborn about learning the lesson and say, I just don't want to do that. But again, those same type of people or those same type of events are going to occur in our life over and over again until we learn the lessons that we need to learn. And so again, power of positive thinking. And although the word positive doesn't necessarily mean what we think it means, I'm still using it for the sake of this video. Even when we meet people, I know sometimes we do try to see the best in people, which is a good thing, because we are supposed to see the best in everyone. However, we have to learn those times when it might be toxic. If it's toxic, you just be respectful. You smile. Sometimes I know that a lot of us, especially those of us who were raised in single parent households and perhaps even had an emotionally distant parent, a lot of times we feel like we have to use our voice because we didn't get to say the things that we wanted to say as children, and so we now as adults feel like we have to say certain things. But the reality is, everything doesn't have to be said. Sometimes it's okay to just ignore someone and walk away. It really is. That can be challenging at times, especially again if you weren't raised that way. You weren't raised with those, you didn't have that balance, or you didn't have anyone telling you that you don't have to say everything, that you can walk away, that it's okay, that you can be heard in different ways. Or if you had someone who did allow you to speak, again, your perception of life is going to be different. And so that's another thing. Our learned behaviors and the environment we were raised in, that also has a lot to do with how we show up in the world. And so if we feel like things haven't been so good in our lives, we kind of tend to lean on that a little bit. Example, I never win anything. Well, I always win stuff. There's a difference there. It feels different in your body when you say it. But whatever you believe, you're right. So if you keep telling yourself you never win anything, guess what? You're never going to win anything. But if you at least say, I hope I win, or I think I have a good chance of winning, guess what? You at least put yourself in the game. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes it does work out in our favor. A lot of times. As a matter of fact, there's a woman called the Contest Queen. She has won every contest she has ever entered. How? With the power of the mind. Our minds are very powerful. And we can have whatever we want if we really want it. As long as we think good thoughts in our minds. I know it's mine. I know I'm going to be a millionaire. I know I am enough. I am worthy. I am loved, loving, and lovable. These are some of the affirmations I say to myself, and you can use them too. Now, because we maybe had some not so good thoughts since childhood, some of us, some since teenage years, some since young adult years, it's not going to happen overnight. However, once you start to say good things to yourself, you will notice that good things start to show up in your life. Good people, you will attract better people, better things. And when I say things, I mean you may be invited to, let's say for example, you always wanted to go to a masquerade ball. Just using that as an example. And you're like, for years maybe you said, that's not going to happen. Then all of a sudden, either you're afforded the opportunity to host a masquerade ball, or you're invited to a masquerade ball, and you're like, oh good, I get to dress up in a costume, and whatever that vision was or is. Let's say for example, we'll bring it down a little bit. Let's say for example, you've been wanting a car for a really long time, and you've been on the bus and the train and taking Ubers and taxis, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I want a car. And you just keep telling yourself, I want a car, I'm going to get myself a car, I'm not sure what kind of car, I'm not sure where the money's going to come from, but I know I'm going to get a car. And you just keep focusing on, and I actually saw this specific scenario happen with someone who's really close to me. I don't want to go, say exactly who. However, someone really close to me, this happened to. And for years, this person lived a certain way. And then all of a sudden, this person started telling themselves, I'm getting ready to do something different. I know I'm going to have a great car. I know it's going to run good. It's going to be, new, not new, not necessarily new, but new. You understand what I'm saying? Like a new used car. A used car is new to the person who's buying it. But new as in a later model as opposed to like a hoopty is what the person meant. And sure enough, it took a while, and, there was some, things that the person had to go through in order to make it happen, but the person made it happen. And I was there through that whole process. And I listened, and I encouraged, and I supported. And it all worked out. And it it's great. And it's like once you get past that one perceived obstacle, like a whole new world opens up, especially in a situation like that where you didn't have the person didn't have a car for years, and then all of a sudden they have a car. There's so much you can do, so much more movement that you can make when you have a vehicle. And not that that's the end all to be all, because that is a material thing, and maybe that's not as important. So, and not to say that it's not important. That's not what I'm saying. So please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But I'm just saying that's a material thing. So we can manifest things, but we can also manifest relationships. So I know a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this, I call myself hiding, because I don't want any guys to talk to me right now, because I don't feel like I'm ready. I don't feel like I'm ready in my heart for the type of relationship that I want. And if I'm attracting people that I can't see growing with and building with, then I typically just friend zone the person. And if they don't want to be my friend, that's fine, which I learned that men don't really ever want to be your friend. But that's another topic that maybe I'll do on another video. But I'll either friend zone that person or just distance myself from that person, depending on, whether or not it's someone that I see on a regular basis, or if I don't ever have to see again at all. But we can manifest good relationships. I've seen people do this as well. But of course we have to attract the type of person that we want. And usually we attract who we are. We attract who we are. But that's not about blame or fault. Because we can't, I shouldn't even say if you're attractive. Men are attracted to women, women are attracted to men. It's just nature. So, what happens is, and one of the things that I realize is, me trying to hide myself doesn't stop men from talking to me. It doesn't stop them from approaching you. What happens is, you just attract the type of person that's on that level that you appear to be on at that moment. So if you go to the store not looking good, hair's not done, maybe you have on a scarf or a bonnet or a hat, no earrings on, t-shirt with a hole in it, or they're way too big, which I see women do a lot, and I understand it because the modesty factor is in place, but sometimes it's because the person has lost a significant amount of weight. And I've experienced this too, where you can't see your own weight loss. Other people see it, but you can't see it. And so since you can't see your weight loss, you're still wearing the clothes that you used to wear when you were heavier, because in the mirror you still see that person that you were, and you don't necessarily see the weight loss. So I get it, I understand. And this is not me judging or criticizing anybody. However, you're going to attract that guy, and I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but you're going to attract that guy that, maybe his hygiene isn't the best, or whatever other traits that he has, maybe they're not so favorable, but he's still going to try to holler at you. And sometimes women will get mad, like, why is he trying to talk to me? If he don't get out of here with his da. But what are we presenting to the world? How are we showing up? I've also noticed that, people who were raised in two-parent households, their mindset is different. Even if it wasn't necessarily a good relationship between the parents, their thought process is still different. So what happens is, again, if we think good thoughts, we'll attract good people into our lives. If we focus on what happened in the past and maybe some of the things that we experienced, we'll continue to have some of those same experiences. And that's just how it goes. It's the law of attraction. It's the law of the universe. It's just how things goes. And so, again, we can have good things happen to us and for us. And again, it's not that things happen to us. We have experiences, and those experiences are meant to teach us a lesson. And that's what I learned in life. The experiences we have are meant to teach us a lesson. And if we don't learn that lesson the first time, that lesson is going to repeat itself in the form of another person or another experience. And that experience may be very similar because, again, we didn't learn the lesson the first time. And sometimes it's challenging for us to receive lessons. We don't like to learn new things sometimes. We don't like to give up those old thoughts and exchange them for good thoughts or better thoughts, because we feel like, well, this is how I was raised, this is how I'm supposed to be, so I'm just going to stay just like that. However, they may not serve a good purpose in your life. That may not serve a good purpose in my life. I'm not just saying you. That doesn't serve a good purpose in our lives necessarily, in the lives of those around us, because we are here to help each other. We're also here to learn from each other without judging or criticizing, because we do have different personalities. So in accepting someone for who they are, we can look at the good traits that they have. Like, you could be around someone who maybe has some very unfavorable characteristics, but maybe they're very smart and they can help you with something else. So you get that help that you need with that, and then, again, the rest of the time, maybe you distance yourself. Maybe you allow them to say whatever whatever's on their mind, and you just stay quiet. You don't necessarily have to feed in and, to what the person is saying if you don't think it's good or if you disagree. Again, it's a matter of whether or not, are you going to stay? Are you going to distance yourself, or are you going to completely remove yourself? But again, there are good traits in everybody, and we can see the good in everybody if we want to. And we can learn from people. Like one of my best friends, compulsive liar. Love my friend to death. I just don't believe many of the things that my friend says. And so I listen respectfully. I laugh, at the appropriate times, and then I leave the rest behind. I don't say, I don't ever, I don't get on the phone and call the next person and say, oh, so-and-so said such and such. It's so-and-so. No, they lying. I don't do that. I don't care. Like, it's not that serious. This is how that person chooses to show up in the world. That's none of my business. But that doesn't take away the love that you can have for a person. Again, you just have to figure out how you can best deal with that person, because this person might be a relative. We do have some toxic relatives. We do have some toxic friends. We do have some toxic coworkers. However, we can still see the positive in everyone, because that's what we're supposed to do. Again, we're here to be helpful to one another and to learn from one another, because I love to share what I know. It makes people feel like, oh, well, she thinks she know everything. I don't care. People can think that. Allow people to think whatever they want to think about you, because whatever other people think about you, it's really none of your business, because usually it's something with inside of them, and 9 times out of 10 whatever they're focusing on in you is probably in them, and they don't like it in themselves either, and a lot of times they're unwilling to change those things. But you can change. And one of the ways you can do that is by meditating. I promise you, practicing stillness is the best way to change your life. You change your thoughts, you change your life. Change your thoughts, change your life. For the good. So that you don't feel like you have to manipulate somebody for money or things. So that you don't feel like you have to speak loudly or be the loudest person in the room to get attention or to be heard because you were deprived of your voice as a child. We don't have to do those things. We can still show up in the world, be our best, and we can be quiet as a church mouse. And it'll still all work out. So, I just wanted to share those things because I practice the power of positive thinking, and I've seen it work in my life. I've seen it work in the lives of the friends and family members that I've recommended it to and who've actually applied the knowledge. And I've seen it work for people outside of my circle, again, who apply the knowledge and work towards mastery. And again, if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old, it's not going to happen overnight because you've had all those years with those thoughts. And so it's going to take time. I know that we live in an instant gratification society, and a lot of times we want stuff to happen right now, right now, right now, right now. Oh, I went to the gym. Ooh, I went to the gym. Now I'm skinny. Ooh, look at me. Look. It doesn't happen. I'm sorry. When you go to the gym one day, you're not going to see those results. It's going to happen gradually over time. So after about 30 days, 2 weeks even, you'll notice changes. A month, 90 days. And really, they say 21 days forms a habit. It's really 90. The longer you do it, the more ingrained in you it will be. It just takes practice. Practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect with everything. If you want to eat healthier, practice eating healthier. If you want to, see an increase of money in your life, practice reciting those types of affirmations that will attract money into your life. If you want to focus on having better relationships, then focus on being a better person yourself. Because again, we attract who we are and not necessarily what we want. And again, this is not about fault or blame, but usually I've seen this a lot. There's been a lot of situations where I was friends with both the male and a female, right? And I'm friends with both this male and female, and I know the female side of the story and I know the male side of the story. So I know that this female is manipulating this guy because she wants whatever she wants from him, and then I know that this guy is manipulating this woman because he wants whatever he wants from her. And because I'm cool with both of these people, I just don't say anything. I mind my business because I don't want to get in the middle of it. But the irony that this person might, well, he's not doing this and he's not doing that, and he's saying, well, she's not doing this and she's not doing that. But in the meantime, I know that they both don't have good intentions. And so I may say that. I may say, well, what if you, do you really like this person? Or, can you see yourself with this person? Whatever it is that I say. And I say, no, because so-and-so did such and such, this, that, and the other. But you did the same thing. So you attracted what you're asking for. And that, again, goes both ways. Because usually if one person is now, that's not to say, because people can be deceptive. Please don't get me wrong or misunderstand what I'm saying. I understand that people can be deceptive. And, I know that sometimes a person, male or female, they may say, oh, I really like you, and they really don't. Or I love you way too soon, and they really don't. I understand that those things happen. However, I've seen where both people are doing the same thing to each other as well. And so they attracted each other because they're the same. It's basically what I'm saying. And again, we're going to attract people that maybe are not right for us, because we're attractive people. And again, men like women and women like men. And most people don't want to be alone. And so sometimes people will just settle for what they feel like they can get or what they deserve, just to say that they have somebody. So start to feel as if you deserve more. Start to feel like as if you deserve better. You know, even if you are, I told one of this to one of my friends, and although I don't always practice it, again, because I was hiding, but I would say to her, stop going to the store with t-shirts on and, you know, your hair not done, you know, and she has a cute hairstyle, you know, just zhuzh it up a little bit, as they say, and, you know, maybe put on a pair of cute jeans and a shirt, not a big oversized t-shirt that's raggedy with some big old sweatpants, and some, you know, some raggedy sneakers, you know, because you're still going to attract men. It just may not be the type of guy that you want. But if we go out and we're looking pretty, or even as a guy, if we go out, we're, you know, we're neat, we're clean, smelling good, you know, hygiene is in order, and, you know, we're thinking good thoughts, good things typically come back to us. All right, y'all, I gotta get in this building. I talked a little bit longer than I thought I would, which is not a bad thing, but I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great day.